All right, there we go. So, anyways, I really enjoyed this part because when I thought about it in my business, I was like, okay, anytime I've ever avoided something, I told myself like, well, I'm just not willing to like step out of my comfort zone. Like that's what it is. But in reality, when I was avoiding y'all, like me avoiding the thing that I needed to go do was not comfortable. Like that was making me more uncomfortable than just going out there and doing the thing that I needed to do. It was because I was unfamiliar with the outcome, and the outcome wasn't something that I was used to. And so that was really good. Did anybody else resonate with that part of this?
Okay, so we were on a coaching call the other day with Jessica Heffley, and there was a girl, and she was just saying, hey, listen, I'm trying to step back into my business, but I'm not quite sure like how that looks or what that's going to feel like. It's going to look different. And at the end of this, like basically question asking session that Jessica had her do, it really wasn't the fact that she was scared to get back into it. She just didn't know how because she was going to have to work differently, and it was unfamiliar to her. She was going to have to start time blocking where she didn't have to do that before because she had more time. But the truth is, like, I really do feel like this idea of like familiar zone is part of my core values because I feel like we can make anything work. We can have an awesome spiritual life, an awesome family life, an awesome plexus business. We can do anything that your heart desires if you just do scary things and get uncomfortable. And this idea of a familiar zone, I get super passionate about it because everything we're doing, everything that requires growth requires an unfamiliar step or 50. And so, anyway, I love that part. And I'd love to hear what y'all have to think because I'm shutting up now.
Well, it has me thinking of the whole idea of like, I don't know, I feel like I post about this a lot of like, it people like to stay in their comfort zone, but is it really even comfortable? Like I think I say that a lot on my social media. Like, no, it's not comfortable because you're stressed about your health and you're stressed about your finances. So it's not comfortable, but it's just familiar. And so it was a light bulb moment for me too. Like, oh, that's what it is. It's not necessarily comfortable. It's just what you know, and it's hard to like go do things that you don't know.
Yeah, I love that. Anybody else have any thoughts on this part? There was one other thing that I wanted to touch on, but anything else? Okay.
I think Brittany wants to say something. I don't know. Your hand keeps going to the computer, Brittany, so I just feel like you want to say something. Yeah, you.
Sorry, I'm getting a cold, so I think I agree with Marissa, like about not like being in your comfort zone, but is it even really comfortable being there? Because yeah, I really I kind of second that. I was getting on my thing because I was gonna go in the chat and say that I agreed with Marissa. But I think that really hits home. Like it makes me think more, I guess, about just sitting in your comfort zone. And I think being at Gold School too, it like made me feel like it like brought up that she was like pressuring us, Genevieve was pressuring us to do the voice messaging sitting there. And so just getting two of those out felt so good. And so getting out of that comfort zone feels good. I think it's just sometimes scary to take that step.
What is something that you guys have avoided or you chose maybe something different because it was more familiar? Or sorry, yeah, because it was more familiar. Do y'all have an example of that? Like I see it all the time. You know, like maybe your knee-jerk reaction when things get hard is just to put your hands up and just quit. Just be like, okay, listen, I don't have time for anything. I'm just gonna avoid everything. Like maybe that's what it is. You know, there's all different things. Maybe you're really, really good at sending reach out messages, but follow-up scare you because you don't want to bother people. So I'm just going to avoid that. I'm going to stay in my familiar zone. I'm just going to do these things that I'm really good at, and I'm not going to touch these. Anybody have an example of what that might look like in your own personal life, business?
So as we talk about there's 4 times.
I'm taking that.
Once a percent like clearly understand what we're talking about.
I can share mine. Oh, Haven, your baby. My heart is in pain. Oh, so one of mine, and I think this is how I'm like naturally wired, but I am a like emotional connector. I am a relationship builder. And so that's what's comfortable to me. That's what's familiar to me. That's what I'm good at. And so I have to be super intentional with like making sure that I'm doing the other areas of my business, the things that maybe aren't so familiar to me, or maybe are a little bit out of my comfort zone. Rather than just like retreating and just diving into the things that I am familiar with, which is relationship building. So that's mine.
Okay, well, I'll share one. It was actually, I really realized it in reading this book actually. And it was earlier on when we were doing the empowering statements and the disempowering statements. And I found myself like totally avoiding my feelings, like avoid, because I knew that it was going to take work, and I knew it was going to take, it just was unfamiliar. Like I just didn't want to take the time to do it. And so instead I did things like, let me listen to another training. Let me, clean up my house. Let me, whatever. Like I was totally buffering and avoiding just doing the thing that was going to make me feel, because I knew that I needed to feel that in order to like get past it and then like get into a better headspace. So that was definitely one of mine.
My question to you is, how did you feel when you allowed yourself to feel those feelings that you were avoiding? I think Jordan's laughing because I think that's what she was going to ask.
Oh man. Well, I definitely cried. And I didn't want to cry. It was like, I wanted to hold it in. I wanted to be strong. And I definitely like cried, but I think that it felt really good after I released that. Like it felt so refreshing. And I felt like I was just in a clear like mind, like my mind was just free. And so it just brings me back to that whole idea of when somebody steps out of their comfort zone, it feels empowering that way, because you can prove to yourself that like, I can do something that's different, and I may not have done it well, but I did it, and like, I can do it again. So, yeah, that's how it felt.
I love that. And like you could totally tell like a change in your demeanor, like when you were talking about that too, like from when you talked about it the first time about avoiding versus now, like you can totally see a change. And so I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the first time I think I brought that up, I like couldn't even hardly get the words out without tearing up. And so it's just, it's so powerful, but I guess you don't realize it when you're in that moment, when you're just like really pushing something off. So if you're doing that, like, I'm just going to tell you, please just get it out and let the tears roll. And then you're going to be like a fresh human. I promise.
Well, and sometimes it's not tears. Like, who here avoids feelings? Me. Okay. Why? Everybody's is going to be different. Okay. Because for me, I don't want to feel angry. I want to feel in control. So like, maybe it's not feeling of sadness or hurt. Maybe it's a different feeling that you're avoiding. Maybe it's a feeling of being successful and you're scared to death. Like, so there's lots of different feelings you can be avoiding. So I would love to hear in the chat, if you avoid feelings, why do you typically avoid feelings? Because here's, thoughts create feelings. Feelings create result in new actions. Actions create results. You can't get new results unless you feel feelings, which really sucks for a lot of us, but you got to do it. Yeah, there you go. Okay, Taylor, did you want to talk about that one anymore? Do we want to move on to the 117?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I can. So
Okay.
Haven actually got a little bit of this earlier this week. She and I got to talk for a long time, which was really fun. So she probably knows where this is going. But I loved the idea of the accountability piece of this, the 117. Who here likes to feel accountable? Do you actually want to be accountable for the things that you want? Because I've heard people say, you know, don't get with your team to rally them for Tuesday calls, or don't bother your don't you don't want to bother your people, or but y'all, there's a difference in creating a space of accountability and account of shame. And we are supposed to create a space for accountability for our team. And that looks like coming from a place of love, not of what can you do for me, but hey, listen, this is what you told me you wanted to do. And I love you enough to be that facing the giants coach that's like, get on the ground, get your blinders on, and let's go. Tell me what you're thinking. Let's move through this. And so that is our job. That's part of our job, is to be a chief encourager for people in a way that is not about us, it's about them. And so if somebody is avoiding that accountability piece, then it's a them thing, and it's a thought that they're having. So I love this piece about accountability. It says, when you're accountable to someone else, you will soon be pleasantly surprised to see that you can do far more than you ever knew that you could. And he even talks about how all millionaire friends said that they all have accountability, all of them. And so anyway. So if you don't have accountability to somebody, you need to find it. And I love that it's not my sponsor, because I know that my accountability partners have nothing to do with my paycheck when they tell me to get my crap together. I know that they are coming, not that my sponsor wouldn't be, but like literally there's no question. Like they do not benefit from my accountability, except for the fact that we run together, obviously. But okay, my question to you guys down on 117 a little bit, it says, we think we want things, but really it's experiences we want. Anyone here ever set a goal and it's just a number or a thing or a car, and you never really sat down to like get to the root of why you want that? Anybody ever set a goal like that? Or why it's important to you? You guys, you don't actually want $100,000 in your savings account. You want the feeling of being secure and safe and financially stable and taken care of. I didn't actually care if I got a Lexus. I just wanted the feeling of having a reliable vehicle for my family. And it just so happens to be a really bougie one that I don't have to pay for. And I wanted that feeling of accomplishment, that was something I wanted to do. And it made me feel like something that I could be really proud of. And it was hard work realized, right? And so I would love for you guys just for a second to think about this. What in 1 year in your business, how do you want to feel? I don't care what rank, I don't care how many points you're in your virtual office. How do you want to feel in 1 year from now about your business? It can be a sentence. Most likely it's going to be a word. Okay, so I'm gonna take Taylor for a second, because she and I did this morning, and then I would love. Actually, you know what, Katie, are you free to talk?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna take Katie. Katie, your word was successful.
Mm-hmm.
So what does successful mean to you?
In terms of my business, it means that it's like running seamlessly and not draining out the bottom while I'm doing work on the top. It means that like I have raised up leaders that are raising up leaders, and that like, I mean, of course, my brain goes to money. Like being successful would mean that I would be making enough money that I wouldn't be stressing about potentially leaving another income behind.
Okay. So if your goal, okay, here you go. Do you want my pen? So she could have easily said, I want to be Sapphire. But like that is such an ambiguous goal. I love that her goal was, I want to be successful. Okay, let's break that down. Because once you have the feeling, you can break that down into, oh my gosh, boy mom life right now, it's behind Haven is hilarious to me.
I know.
Because she had a feeling, she can break that down into actionable goals. Okay, so her first one is people are staying. She said she's not pulling teeth to get people to stay and they're not falling at the bottom. Okay, cool. So now she has customer care goals that she knows she has to meet in order to feel successful. And then she said, I'm growing leaders who are growing leaders. So she knows that she's got to go work on her own leadership lid so that she can develop leaders who are developing leaders. She also knows that she's probably going to have to be pouring into things like opportunity events and leading with the business and really focusing on relationships and things that go into that leadership lid, right? So this is way bigger than just, I got to go bust out IPA. It's so much bigger. That successful piece is so much bigger. It's way bigger than just the one recruiting pillar, right? And so anyway, do y'all see how that breaks down? How that really does shape your goals versus just like, I want to be Sapphire. Okay, cool. What do you need? I need like 6 rubies. Okay, great. So you know what I mean? There's no meat behind that. There's no passion behind that. Is that helpful, Katie? Did she say yes? I was looking
Sorry, I
down.
couldn't find the unmute. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does. It is.
I want to take somebody else's word. Christy. Where are you, Jolly? Can you talk? Are you schooling? She's probably schooling. Who?
No, I'm getting ready to go to school.
Okay,
So,
so do you
I'm
want?
here.
Okay, cool. So you said proud. What would make you really proud about your business in a year?
So I think that right now, where I'm trying to rebuild and get back into the whole thing, I think that it is going to be seeing me consistent, because that was kind of like my downfall, seeing that I'm consistent with my IPA, consistent with my follow-ups, my customer care.
Why
just
do you care
all the
about
things.
being consistent?
Because I think that's the key, because when you're not consistent, it's easy to just not worry about it and
So-
go do your own things and not worry about your business, thinking that it will be easy, you know, if I take the week off to get back in a week, and it's not. Yeah.
So if you're consistent, how will that make you feel?
Accomplished. Like I will feel good about myself, knowing that I didn't give up on myself. I think that's the whole thing, is that consistency is not giving up on myself.
And
So.
how will not giving up on yourself make you feel?
Like I care about myself, because that's a huge part of it. Just that mindset of, you know, you don't break your appointments with anyone else, but apparently it's okay to break it with yourself because it's just you. So
Yeah. So do you see yourself as being important in other areas of your life? Do you
Yeah.
make yourself a priority often?
Make myself a priority? No. Make everything else in my life a priority? Yes.
Yeah.
So
Why are you afraid to make yourself a priority?
I think that it's just the mom in me.
Mm.
Like it's just not what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to make sure my kids are taken care of, and my job is this, and my, you know, my husband's taken care of, and I'm just always the last one on the list.
Yeah.
So
what would it feel like if you were, because you said proud. So have you felt proud of yourself lately?
yes, when I finished my 100 message challenge.
Yeah. I love
Like
that.
that was a huge accomplishment. So
Does that scare you to feel proud of yourself? Do you feel unfamiliar? And how does that feel?
yes, yes, very unfamiliar.
Yeah.
So
Well, what I've seen and what I love about this book is he talks about if it feels unfamiliar, you're probably going to slam on the brakes. And you're going to say, whoa, that was cool. But now I feel selfish and now I'm not being a good mom. So I probably need to pump the brakes.
yeah, yeah, and I see that, like, that was the huge aha moment, was why are we going through life with the brakes on?
Yeah.
And I just thought, that's what I do. You know, I hit the gas when it's familiar and I know what to do and it's easy for me. But if something's challenging, that's unfamiliar, that gets you out of that comfort zone, then it's like, yep, hit the brakes. I'm gonna take this really slow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think part of your homework then is to figure out why you're a really great mom and a really great business owner at the same time. And that's something I know Megan Malakovic. I think she's a video on this. I'm gonna find it. Maybe a podcast. Go look at her podcast. That was a big shift she had to make. And once she did, it was all these new thoughts, of course, all these new feelings, and then all these new actionable things, and then brand new results. So I want to encourage you to dive into that because that's a big one and it's important. We are called to be really good moms to our kids that the Lord has rented to us. So
yes.
get it. Okay. Does anybody else want to go? My child's banging on the fireplace, so we're just gonna sit here and wait for y'all. Hey, Parker, no. And she's trying to lift a 15-pound weight, so that's also good. Yeah. Who else wants to go? We have time for one more. Lindsay Nunley. She's gonna be like, I knew you were gonna call me. Lindsay, can you talk?
I would be totally fine going, but my dogs won't stop barking.
That's okay.
So, do you really want to listen to that?
Kind of breaking up a little bit too. Who else wants to go? Don't be scared.
I can.
Yes, Jen. Woo! All right, Jen, how do you want to feel about your business in a year?
I was trying to find the right word for it, but like I feel like the best way to describe is like impactful or impacting.
Are you afraid that if you pick the wrong word, you're going to sound selfish?
No, I like the way I want to feel is like I am impacting people's lives and that at the like not at the end of this, but like as I continue to grow, I can impact more and more in different ways. And I didn't know or could find a word to like describe that.
So what's going to make you feel impactful? Like you had an impact on people.
I think it would be huge to see health goals that are changed and financials, the financial side, like being able to impact college students in a way that they don't have to feel like they have to struggle 24/7. But also in like a different way of like in life and like that I can impact people with just like being able to give them things when they aren't expecting it, but when they need it.
The first thing you said, did you say like product stories or did you say financial?
The first thing I said is product.
Okay. So she said she really wants to feel impactful with the people's stories, with like their product stories, and then financials, especially for college students, so they're not having to stress so much. And then giving more to people. Unexpected gifts is gift giving your love language.
Yes.
Okay. So as far as product stories go, she now knows that she's got to be really bold with reaching out to those people that are posting about whatever problem. And she's got to do it fearlessly, because the bigger the problem, the bigger the story that she gets to go help. Okay, I take that back. Everybody's story is big. But you know what I mean? If she really wants to feel that, like, I mean, I'll never forget reaching out to a girl who was talking about IVF on her story or on her Facebook. And I'm not saying that Plexus is like the end all be all for fertility, but for her, she had PCOS and she was having a really hard time getting pregnant. And after 3 rounds of IVF, I think, she was pregnant with Plexus. Now, talk about a scary, bold, cold message that I had to send that day, right? Like, I could have easily like said the wrong thing. Like, that's a sensitive subject. So now she knows she's got to go send those really scary reach out to product takers. She wants the financial stories. She's got to really get in the trenches with her girls, and she's got to raise her leadership lid, knowing that she to be able to help somebody impact their monthly income by $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $20,000 a month. She's got to go raise her lid. She's got to go really focus on her own leadership, her own relationship building, her own productivity, the strategy. She's got to go work. Okay. But because she knows she's got to go do these things and it's going to equal her word impactful, she's going to wake up more excited to do that work than if she was just like, I just want to be Sapphire. I just want to be Ruby. Okay. Because that's not going to get her excited. But making an impact is going to make her excited. Do y'all see the difference in that? How we're chasing these experiences and feelings versus something, an accolade. It's so different. So different. Okay. Anybody else? I know we were going to have y'all share more about the book, but it didn't happen today. Shocker. Anybody else have anything before we get off of this call? Something that you just took away? Or if you want to do this with me, I'm happy to. Everybody else can get off if you need to. Any things you want to unmute? What? Okay. Well, thank y'all for being on today. Thank you for letting me record this today. Fever Coached. I promise you're in good hands. No one's going to judge you when they watch this. And we love y'all. Next week is chapter 7. Taylor will not be here this next week. So does anybody want to volunteer to co-lead with me next week for this call? I have somebody for our first call, but I need somebody for this call. So if you want to volunteer, she said Jen does. You want to volunteer? Either say yes right now or message me privately, and first come, first serve. All right. I love y'all. Have a great week this week. Go write down your words so that all your actions will follow. Bye.